One of
It was especially when they were starting out in the 90s and 20s.
Hit it.
Welcome to another episode of Football Theory. My name is Ivan Sanchez. Here with my co-host.
Co-host, Alejandro Gutierrez. Welcome back to the episode. Yep, episode 2.
Episode 2. We have a name now. We got a name for. We did the first episode. At the time we didn't have a name. We brainstormed and Alex, you came up with Football Theory after a few different ideas, a few different brainstorms that didn't make the final cut. And so here we are, brainstorm complete. We have the Football Theory podcast.
Yep.
And we're gonna get right into it. We have plenty to cover. This is the idea of the podcast, of course, is to touch on Mexican soccer every podcast and then touch on everything else around the world. But, the biggest story that happened since we last met last week was, at the time, very tragic. And it's something, you have to touch right away before we go into Mexican soccer. So we'll touch Mexican soccer on the second part of the podcast. But it was the collapse of Christian Eriksen for Denmark in the opening group stage against Finland, and really just a surreal thing to witness and see happen in real time. And it's one of those things that we can talk about, each of us, our experiences with it, but it's kind of one of those things that kind of impossible to put into words how one could feel when you saw it happen in real time.
And you're right. I remember where I was. Everyone's gonna remember where they were during that moment. I definitely stepped out. I usually don't watch Euro games like that. I'm not a huge like watching just smaller games like that. So, but it was one of those Saturday mornings where T-ball was going to start later on, and so we were sitting around, and I just put the game on while I was cooking, and then my son wanted to go out and practice some swings. So we went out to the back, and I just started getting a bunch of text messages from my buddies. Shout out to them. And I get a big bunch of text messages like, "Hey, did you see that? You see that?" I'm like, "What?" So I run back inside, and I see it, and yeah, man, that's something that's definitely going to change football from here going forward. We'll talk about that why, but I also, something that we came up with, we said that last episode 1, talking about like the health of these players. Like I don't know if that can kind of tie in with this, but obviously we talked about these players are tired, they're overplayed. And like I said, I mean, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but from what I hear, right, he had a cardiac arrest, right, for a minute or two, right?
Yeah, that looks like the reason why he went down. We did touch on the fact that these players had long seasons. We've been running on very tight schedules the last 16 months because of the pandemic. And again, this is somebody who is probably in the 1% more than the highest of the healthiest of people, 29-year-old playing professional soccer, playing it at an elite level, been doing it for a long time, and to see that happen. And, luckily he's fine. Luckily he's okay. The pictures came out that he was conscious when, and awake when they were trying him off. And you have to watch the words you say. For the worst situation that was, the best possible outcome came from it. I think from the quick reactions from the Denmark captain, from Schmeichel as well, help the team covering around, giving him the privacy, consulting the wife, the ref quickly recognizing there's something wrong, the medics getting there in time, the fact that what reports came out, they were able to shock him and get the heart going again in the first try, all these little things that added up to what could have really been to save this person's life.
Yeah, I think the word lucky is being used too nicely, right? Because lucky is definitely the word, because man, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about someone that practically died. If that happens to you or I, somebody else somewhere else, a youth game, or one of those indoor games that you play at, I mean, it's over, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's not, the medical response is not there, the attention is not there, and so like you said, someone that's in tip-top shape, you can't blame anything on anything else, it's just one of those things that definitely shook the world. And I'm glad that they were able to, like you said, the best possible solution came out of it was him being alive, and his teammates coming around him, his teammates from other teams as well, embracing it. And so, hopefully it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, it probably will one day, because I remember that. I think there was a player from Cameroon, right, in the 90s. I remember that. Like, he just passed it out.
2001 Federations Cup thing.
Yeah. Like I think in 01, I think, actually.
Yep.
It's, I think one of the second, I think it was the second Confederation Cup. And so, like, those kind of things, it happens because it's a hell, these guys are playing. They're playing the sport. And, it happens in football, happens in college football. Right? You hear in the summer, people, they die. And so it's an athletic event. And your health is obviously at risk every time you get out there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we don't know what, if this was a genetic thing, something had been passed down that he didn't know about, so many other questions and topics that, we won't touch on because we're not medical experts, and all we care about is for him to come is be healthy moving forward, regardless if he plays or not. Bigger questions.
Yeah.
And so that certainly leads us into the Euros, which at the time of recording, every team has played one game. Group A has played 2 games, as well as one half of Group B. Quickly going down the groups, you have Group A, Italy, a team we both spoke on. We both were expecting for them to have a bounce back, and they've bounced back really nicely. 2 3-0 wins. They've really taken control of their group. Turkey, a lot of people much smarter than me have kind of saw Turkey as a dark horse in this tournament, someone who could maybe make some noise, get in the group stage, possibly upset somebody. They've already dropped 2 games, 2-0 defeat to Wales, 2-0, 3-0 opening win to Italy. So the group, it looks like Italy winning it, and they're winning, and they've been impressive. Or what do you think about the group so far with Italy? And you wearing the Italy jersey.
I think it's a lot. I don't know. I think it's a lot tighter than what it looks like. Turkey, they put up a fight. Obviously, lost 3-0, but it wasn't like they got walked all over. I didn't see that part. But yeah, I think the group is definitely already set. Obviously, we thought Italy was going to be going far. We called that. That's why I'm wearing my Italy jersey, just to represent my Italian side. No, I'm just kidding. No, just something I picked up when I was in Italy. And I do want to give them an award for the best uniform in the Euros. I think I was watching today. I think they got the best kit. I think they're wearing the best kit to me. But anyways, yeah. So what was that?
Best home kit, because their away kit is that generic Puma jersey.
No. And I saw that. I think the generic, the Puma's definitely a generic. But I was looking at it, I was like, at least that blue, like the two shades of blue is pretty clean. Yeah. Like the 2 shades of blue, and then like their trainers were wearing this like off dark green blue kind of teal thing, and it was pretty clean too. I was like, wow, definitely, like you said, that blue kit is always been fancy. It's really
that white one, they just made that generic Puma one. That's not.
Yeah, and it looks like everybody else got that. Like Switzerland was wearing that. Everybody's wearing that.
Italian is very nice.
It just says like their country, but the blue looks clip. But anyways, yeah, no, Wales kind of surprised me. I thought they were going to be good enough, but yeah, I think they're going to get in there, man. I think Switzerland is not done either, because they can get that. We'll see. We'll see what Switzerland can do, but I think we got the first two. Sorry, Italy, Wales for sure. Going through.
Yeah, I think Wales really showed the perseverance against Turkey. Kind of keep battling again their positions again to win today, and they showed perseverance also against Switzerland, where I thought Switzerland was a little better in the opening game, but they hung around, found a good opportunity on a set piece, got that 4-1. They got the 4 points now. Yep. They look to be in good position, even if they do lose to Italy, and to kind of even get a good third spot if it goes down to there. For Italy, again, they're playing well. It's hard to tell because I think the rest of the group is a notch or two below them, but they're winning the games they're supposed to, and they're playing in a style that, it's been very attractive to see. And, you can't ask any more from Italy, I don't think.
No, 3-0 wins, you can't say anything about it.
Yeah, you can't say anything more than that. And I think, so we're moving on to Group B. Half of the teams have played 2 games. One of them, Belgium and Denmark, will play tomorrow for the recording of it. You have Finland, who beat Denmark once the game restarted after the incident with Christian Eriksen. They're at 3 points. You have Russia, who lost to Belgium. They're at 3 points after beating Finland in the morning. You have Belgium, who really kind of the way Italy looked and have looked in the first 2 games, them in the first game also taking care of business, 3-0 win over Russia. I kind of expect them to have a similar performance to that of Italy, where they're a notch above the rest of the team of the groups. And I think they're going to win 2-0, 3-1 kind of games against Denmark and Finland. But they look fantastic as well the first game.
They did look dope. They do have the deepest roster, obviously, in that group. Obviously, that's why they're in the first place right now. I think it's gonna take a lot for Denmark to shake this off. So I think I don't see them doing it. Unfortunately, I hope they do, but it's gonna be hard for them to shake what happened. Obviously, they couldn't come back and shake it off during the day, which they don't have to. They had to play the game, and that was tough for them. Belgium, I didn't see Russia put their hands, and they didn't get their hands dirty. All if you look at the first 2 goals, they're just mistakes. I'm not taking anything from Belgium. They won. They're a better team. But I was looking at the goals, and Russia literally was like, they had to play a perfect game to be in it, and they didn't do that. They were just making these like bad mistakes in the back, and like where you obviously Lukaku and them are going to just take care of business. So Russia had no chance, and Belgium could have scored obviously more than 3 goals. So I do see Belgium, like you said, they're in the driver's seat. They are going to get to the top 4. I think so. I think they're going to get to the final 4 for sure.
Yeah, so far so good. They've played really well. I think for Denmark, what you look at is it's hard to ask for a team to you don't know how players are going to respond. You don't know how people are going to respond. This was a triggering traumatic event. So there's no way, each individual person will deals with trauma in their own way. It's a lot to ask somebody. It would be a lot to ask them to wait a day too, because it's such an exhausting thing to have to go through a traumatic experience like that. Even once you find out that your friend is okay, your teammate's okay, it's still traumatically exhausting, even if they had to come back the next day. It's been a couple of days on a purely football speaking aspect. The group sets them up to, even if they don't get the result against Belgium, if it's not a blowout, they can still put themselves in a good position to get a result against Russia. Then you have a 3-way tie, assuming Belgium gets the results against Finland as well, that you have 3 teams with 3 points, and it all comes down to goal differential for the 2nd spot and the 3rd spot as well to round out the group. Mm-hmm. So, for Denmark, there's still a possibility for them. We can't blame them if they crash out. We can't anything like that. We could see them rally around. We honestly don't know, just because every person deals with trauma and the triggering aspects of something like that in their own way. And it's really, for me, I think they get a pass the rest of the tournament, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Big time. Yeah. I you said you want them to rally around. You've seen teams can't rally around when the player just gets injured. You see like some kind of a broken ankle or like a torn meniscus, right, or whatever, torn ACL. You see a player get carted off, or like one of those really rough injuries like Raul Jimenez, right? And the team just kind of go like, what the heck just happened? We're talking about a guy like being revived on the field. This is a whole different level to as far as the trauma. So hopefully they can come together. Like you said, that group could be really tight, where a third place could come out of it for sure.
Yeah, and then in Group C, you kind of have the opposite, where the Netherlands, in the most exciting game so far of the tournament, beats Ukraine 3-2 after having 2-0 lead. They get caught up to 2-2. They pull it out at the end. But, this is a turn. I think we talked about a little bit last week that this could be a Netherlands team that could be set up to not make it far, to disappoint. Their record before the tournament wasn't strong. You had them. It's funny because before the tournament, they talked about how they weren't exciting. Then they turned out to have the most exciting game. But this is a team that's just so flawed, I think, for when you compare it to the other elite teams, the one we just talked about and the ones we're going to talk about here in a little bit, where, I think Austria, they got themselves the result they needed, again, being in North Macedonia. And I think they're not going to fear the Netherlands, they're not going to fear Ukraine either. This actually could be a group that Austria actually could win, I think, coming off the first, what I saw from the Netherlands, what I saw from Ukraine, right, and what I saw from Alba, or what I saw from Austria.
And I do want to take that back. Italy has the best kits. I forgot Austria pulled out those really cool, like teal color or whatever. So I want to put them in the top 3 for kits of the tournament. I was watching Austria play. Like, that's a really cool combination of uniforms. So I take that back. Italy having the best, so I put them in the top 3. North Macedonia having 39-year-olds score their first goal, whatever, in Euros. So that was pretty cool. That game was all right. I was just messing around on Twitter talking about I'm going for Northern Macedonia. That would be like our Curaçao, or would that be in CONCACAF? That would be like our Martinique, right? Yeah. Making a run. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, Austria looks good, man. Austria looks good. Surprisingly looks good. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do come out first place in this group.
Yeah, and it'll be so. Yeah, I think that group's up for grabs. I think one group that isn't up for grabs, and I was very impressed with, was England. As we move on to Group D, I thought England. It was a 1-0 result, but the way they kind of almost, I don't know if dominate is the right word, but the way they contained Croatia was really impressive, I thought. Because Croatia had, we talked about it, another thing we talked about last week, or was the way Croatia is kind of on their downwards of where they were 3 years ago. And we saw it here, right? We saw, if they play 10 times, there's 5-6 times where Croatia could definitely be better than England, where they dominate and run it through the midfield, where Modric is doing everything he can, where Kovacic is doing everything they can, and they're clicking and they're frustrating England. What I saw actually was a lot of respect for Croatia out of England, playing with two defensive midfielders and really just trying to suffocate and keep everything Croatia was doing in front of them while also pressing high and not allowing Croatia to kind of get behind them. And so I was very impressed, I think, for England through the tactical aspect of that. And I think they have room to grow to be even better.
They do. I mean, obviously they have the squad, right? What amazes me of like these Euros that I'm watching, I know it's obviously old news, but you look at these small nations like Croatia, and I'm talking about size, right? I'm talking about size. When I say small, I mean by size. And I'm also talking about population. I'm also talking about their league as well, right? Like the Croatian league is obviously not known around the world. You look at these small nations as far as like in football standards, and you're like, wow, they can compete at the level with like some of these big ones that we know. And I guess obviously that just has to go with all these players play throughout Europe, right? They play with their European passport. They play through all these little clubs, all these big clubs, and Croatia always had big, obviously these big names they were playing in Real Madrid, Barcelona, right? And obviously the other teams. And so I don't know, just an observation I made. I'm like, wow, like all these little nations that you don't even know about their pro league. When it comes to national team time, like they can compete with anybody because their players play everywhere, right? And they play on these big teams, like Austria was an example, these guys that play on these other clubs, and you never hear the Austrian league. I can't even name you a club team. So, it's pretty cool. That's just an observation I had.
Yeah. Absolutely. And part of it, I think you kind of look for these generational groups of players. Belgium's another example. You have a country of 10 million people. They're producing a goal in generation right now. You make a good point. I thought, tying it back to Mexican soccer, the England game, you had Calvin Phillips have a man of the match performance. And I think this is important when we talk about infrastructure of Mexican soccer. This was his first year that he was playing in the top flight of England. Though he's playing in the EPL.
Right.
He's been with Leeds his whole career. And so all his professional career since he was 24, he's been playing in the lower divisions of England. And they got promoted last year. So now they're in the EPL Leeds. And this is the first time he's ever played top flight soccer in England. And he then later this year, he comes in, starts for England in the Euros, and has a man of the match performance where he's suffocating the Croatian midfield, where he's running up and down. He gives the assist for the goal. It shows the importance of having your lower divisions and having a connection and having this opportunity for these teams where you don't see in Mexican soccer, where for the time this is
not just Mexican soccer. You don't see it in U.S. soccer either. I don't want you to say, let's not pick one, but there's a couple countries we know that don't do that, and I think we do need to find that's the knock we have, right? Like that relegation is good for competition. I've always looked at second division players, and when they say, "Oh, you play second division," like like the commitment's actually, it's there as well, right? It's not like you have days off, and it's probably harder, right? Like minor league baseball, where you have to travel all these, on the bus and whatever you got to do. So it's definitely, builds a little more character. And I don't know, I'm with you. I think that's definitely something that the Mexican soccer and obviously the MLS, U.S. soccer, have to take a look at. They probably won't anymore, but that's definitely something we need to bring back, the relegation.
Yeah, absolutely, because you show that how easily someone could fall into the cracks like that. Someone of that talent could fall in the cracks. And then quickly, Czech Republic 2-0 win over Scotland. Patrick Schick with the goal of the tournament, chipping the goalie from half field. Yeah. Great goal. Czech Republic. I mean, Scotland. Look, Scotland's got to be kicking themselves. They still have the game against England, which is kind of their World Cup. Yeah. But Czech Republic now put themselves in a good position.
They're in a deep hole. Yeah, they're in a deep hole, and that was like the one that they had to go get, those 3 points they needed to get. And now it's going to be uphill battle for sure. You got Croatia and England, which won't be anything easy for them.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and I see them. You can see them getting the result against England, I think, more than Croatia, because they can get up for the England game because it's a rivalry game for them, I think. And for the Czech Republic, they put themselves in a good position, getting 2 goals. Now they can kind of navigate the next 2 games, kind of see the way how they want to play it. If the opportunities are there to get results, if not, do you hold on, try to be the best third place team? Quickly, and we'll talk, and then this will also talk about with Poland. This will lead us to Poland as well. Man, I hate when goalkeepers look embarrassed like that when they have nothing. It's not his fault that he got chipped like that from the goal. It was a great goal, perfectly placed. It went off for deflection. He's going to be out of position because of the deflection it took from the Scottish player that put them in that position. Oh, man, when he goes tumbling into the net and looks like a little baby deer in bushes, it's just like so heartbreaking.
It reminded me of my nephew playing U6 soccer, and like, you know, when everyone just runs into the net, he got stuck in the net one time with his cleats up. So that definitely reminded me. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's bad. Like, you can't blame him. That's a crazy shot. Like, if you look at that, if you ever see that angle from the back, if you saw it from the back of the goal, like that curve it had on it was nasty. So like, it wasn't even like a straight shot, like, you know, David Beckham chip. It was like this like curve, man. It was like, and it dropped into the goal.
And then I just hate seeing the keeper look so helpless. Yeah. And then that also leads us to Slovakia beating Poland in Group E, where the first Slovakia goal, first, I forget, comes off Chechevny gets enough of a hand on it where the ball goes off the post, and then it rebounds off his back into the back of the net. And then again,
those are the worst.
Another one where, like, you know, and then you hear announcers, people saying, "Oh, he could have done more. He could have done more." What do you want him to do? Not have a back? Like,
yeah,
you know, like.
Yeah. No, like, you got there. As long as you put your hand on that first ball, you did your job. Like, when I was a keeper, I always say, like, they're not going to score me on the first shot. They might score me on the rebound, right? I might not catch it and whatever, or someone might tap it in. But that first shot, I'm going to get to it. And I feel like they said the keeper put his hand on it. He got it. And that's just bad luck, man.
Yeah, it is just bad luck. I just hate the aftermath of it when people talk about, you know, could have done more, should have done this. Like, man, I mean,
those are people that haven't played. Because those are the same people that say, like, oh, soccer's weak. Look at the fouls, they're always flopping. So those are the same people that do that. Like, they'll see a highlight on ESPN and they'll see a keeper make one mistake. And it's like, you didn't see the rest of the game, did you? You didn't see him block 20 shots.
His defender gets completely fleeced before the play even gets to him, and yeah, it was a bad day for goalkeepers. But yes, Slovakia gets the win, 2-1.
Yep.
And then the worst game of the tournament so far, Spain Sweden 0-0, where Spain couldn't produce anything. They almost had 1,000 passes to Sweden's 100 and something. They had 84. They had 84% of the possession. 86% to Sweden 14. And the worst part about it was, I mean, I think I deserve a medal for watching the whole game through, but Sweden had 16% at half. They ended with 14, which means they had to have 12, which means it got worse in the second half.
Right. Well, first of all, I'll give you shout outs for watching that game, because I only watched pieces of it, knowing that I was going to get that. You know, Spain's like, you know, that's, I don't know. It's like this old school little Spain. No, I don't know. There was no attacking. Like you said, possession is not going to win the game for you. It's actually one of the spiels, like I tell my teams, like, hey, we don't need to possess the whole game. Like, we're not Barcelona, so we don't need to do that. And so I saw the same thing on the field. Like, you know, shout out to you for watching that, because I watched pieces of it. And I was like, that's enough for me, man. Like, you're not attacking. I thought Sweden did their thing. Like you said, they did worse, but they didn't get scored on. And so, hey, the point of this game is to score goals, not to have possession. And if it was about possession, then Pep Guardiola would have, 10, Champions League titles, So it's not about having the ball. It's about scoring.
Yeah. And I think good for us. I think we mentioned that Spain is a possibility of a team that will, that isn't as strong as they have been in the past. No. So,
it's just one of those, they're hitting that, like the way you say Croatia's on the way down, the way you're saying that, Italy has a cool generation and Belgium has a cool one coming up, or they're in their little prime. I think Spain is trying to find that new generation. I don't think they're there. They're still stuck on what they did, for those 8 years, and they're trying to produce one. And I just don't. The mix is not there yet. The generation's not there yet.
Yeah, they're in a transition stage, and I think it's a reflection of their two biggest teams in Barcelona and Real Madrid, where they're in a transition stage, both of them, where they're trying to kind of they still have some of the pieces of their teams when they were at their most successful, both of them. And then how do you mix in the new guys? How do you get in new talent, new blood, while still trying to keep the same level of quality? And it's very difficult. I mean, it happens everywhere in the club soccer. You see the waves it kind of goes. And right now, they're both kind of in a transition stage where you're getting these new guys. You're getting this old guard out. How much of it do you keep? What's the balance of it? There's no right recipe for it. So it's kind of like, and you see, so it's kind of like you mix and see, and you're seeing the results now. You see it with the national team as well, where 8 years ago, 10 years ago, it was everybody but one person was a Real Madrid, Barcelona player, and now you don't even have a Real Madrid player on the roster for Spain.
Right. So that goes back to the team. Yeah, it goes back to their two big clubs and the generation of players they have right now. Like you said, it goes back to that. And don't forget, they didn't win La Liga, so obviously that's all going hand in hand right now. So they don't have the best teams right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a transition. It's a transition stage for Spain, I think, a little bit, where we'll see in 2, 4, 6 years what if the base here produces into higher quality team, and if the team kind of evolves into something better. So
it's like my Chivas, my Chivas are in a transition stage too the last 10 years.
No,
so. All right. Okay, group F. So Portugal, France, Germany, Hungary, and obviously a great game yesterday. First we'll start with the Portugal game. I thought Hungary was putting in, they were putting in work, man. They were hanging on tight. They were trying to close it out. I think they were, obviously probably trying to go for a tie. They would be okay with the draw. And they got that one goal that was called offside, it was offsides. It was a good goal though. And then, like we talked about momentum before in last episode, right after that, Portugal hits them with the dagger. And, when you're playing a team that's probably more talented than you, probably more stacked than you, and you got them close enough to like maybe squeeze out a point, and then all of a sudden, they score on you, all of a sudden the floodgate opened up and it was bad from there.
Yeah. I thought Hungary was game. They definitely looked like they were a game. As the game went on, they got more comfortable. They were more dangerous the kind of game went on. They started not to fear Portugal as much. And also an incredible atmosphere in Budapest, the only stadium that was completely open, and you could really feel the electricity from it, I think. I thought it was
60,000 people, right? Like 60,000 people.
Yeah. Yep, and it was really a fantastic kind of atmosphere to see after not having fans in the stadium for so long. And you see all these other stadiums that aren't at full capacity. You could really feel the energy from them, and I think it helped them a lot. Yeah. Portugal, they got it's what is it? It's not always the biggest storm that's going to crack the dam. Sometimes that's just going to wear it out, and then the smallest raindrop's going to be the one that cracks it. And then once it did, kind of floodgates open. Portugal got the win they needed. They know this was definitely a trap game for them, like as it is, and I think Hungary showed that they're going to be games the next two games as well, which against both France and Germany, which wasn't the fireworks that I think some people might thought would happen, but it was a great game. I think France showed that they're as dangerous as any team here in the world. They had a couple of goals called offsides.
Yeah.
Germany didn't look terrible. I thought Germany looked I think there's going to be positive Germany can take from it. Matt Hummel's own goal was the difference of it. I thought there was France was more dangerous in producing more opportunities. Germany looks like they were just kind of a step behind them. But now I think that France kind of showed we are the best team in this tournament.
Yeah.
They might be able to just turn off and on, to be honest with you, with how good they are.
They're obviously, we said it, they're super stacked. They're everybody's favorite. They're in their golden generation right now. They're obviously killing it with all the players they have, all the experience. They weren't going to bow down to anyone like a Germany or anything like that. Germany was at home. I think Germany, what kept them going was they're at home. Like you said, they're probably a step down, but obviously they're at home, so that helped them. And like you said, France scored 2 goals. They're offsides, so you obviously saw that they had the ball more and created more opportunities. So France, definitely earned that win, and it's going to be. There's still a couple more games in that group. They're going to be really nice to watch for sure. And like you said, Hungary could go head to head with Germany. I can see them trying to squeeze one out of Germany for sure.
Yeah, I think especially if Germany struggles to create the clear-cut chances, or if they just don't have the confidence in goal to take advantage of the chances, it could definitely be there. We saw it 2 years ago. I think this team's a little more dynamic than they were in the World Cup, but if they're not putting themselves enough in these situations to create that, there is a possibility of it.
Yeah,
I think Germany still has that kind of aura the way Italy does, that in a knockout stage, that's still a team you want to avoid, because even if they might not have the upper hand, they're going to have, there is something about just being across a Germany or an Italy in a knockout stage game that it's just kind of in their, they have the confidence of knowing that it's almost in their blood kind of a thing that, so if you don't knock them down early, they could just linger around and use, So yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens with especially the next one with Portugal Germany. I mean, right there I mean that's a huge game right there where you see Portugal that struggled a little bit with Hungary, but got the 3-0 win. You got Germany who struggled against a very good France team. Now they're going to collide. We don't know what's going to happen. Now I think this game is probably more exciting because they're more even, I think, than France being a notch above both of them in my mind.
I agree. It should be a good one.
Cool. Yeah. So that wraps up our overhead right now of the Euro group stage. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to touch on some interesting things happening with Mexican soccer.
There you go. All right. Okay. I'll put a little music between that, and then we'll go to segment number 2. So whenever you're ready to start, man, I have my roster right here. I pulled it up.
We got the roster up? All right, cool.
Well, I have like supposedly, because it's not confirmed, right?
No, they have to cut 4 people. But yeah, it's the pre-lit.
All right, let's roll into it then, whenever you're ready.
And welcome back to the Football Theory Podcast. We're here with Alex and Ivan. Now we're gonna switch back and go to our bread and butter, Mexican soccer. A couple things interesting happening in Mexican soccer, even though they're not playing. They did have a friendly on Saturday, 0-0 game against Honduras that I almost completely forgot about to talk here because it was the definition of the Mexican soccer money grab game, I thought.
Yeah, there's or AKA, Tuca would say mole for sure. So that's definitely part of the mole tour, and I think people are I don't know. I kept saying people are gonna get tired of it. I guess they're not. I guess they're not getting tired of it. They love mole. I think my wife made mole on Saturday, and it was way better than the one on TV. So that's definitely something that I would stay away from. I've been to many games with some friends. We've been to many Mexico games. I've had enough mole. I'm over it, and so stay away from games like that. But yeah, going into that was definitely a game that we forgot. I totally forgot too. I totally forgot. If it wasn't for social media, I was like, wow, there's a game on. I literally sat through that whole thing. I watched it with my parents, just chilling. And I mean, I was doing other things, but I was like, this is terrible. So I don't know if you have one quick thought about that game before we go into what we're going to talk about.
No, I mean, it just kind of represents the things that we get frustrated about with Mexican soccer. I mean, you have a bunch of players from the roster that was at the Nations League kind of bow out little by little. It's an unbalanced roster, and they're kind of trickling away. You have an opponent who also probably would rather focus and get ready for the Gold Cup or have a break before they have to come back and get ready for the Gold Cup. It's a whole week after the Nations League final as well. Yeah. But again, people go, right. They did almost 70,000 at Atlanta because people wanted to go there. It looked like the people there had a great time. They passed the no chant test, so good for them as well. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of like one of those stereotypical cliche Mexican cash grab games that kind of, I think a lot of people, at least I think in the kind of Mexican soccer community that we hang out, would like to see kind of go away. I mean, naturally you need preparation games, but they already have a couple of those set up before the Gold Cup. So this just seemed like a pure crash grab.
Right. Yeah. The issue is like the timing is just off. People are still obviously sour about the loss, and we'll talk about that as well. I mean, obviously we talked about the episode 1, but like you said, the rosters are very thin, and because that's the Olympics are coming up as well. So we'll get right into it, right? The Mexican Olympic preliminary roster came out as far as who are eligible to even go, who actually are allowed to go. People get upset really quick, like, oh, this guy should go. It's like, it's not about that. There's so many other factors that go into making the Olympic team, not just the age restriction of 24 and down, obviously, because they extended it 1 year from guys that were 23 last year, but the fact that these European teams and these big clubs, even Mexican club teams, whatever it may be, they don't have to let their players go to play the Olympics, right? It's not a FIFA sanctioned thing. So at least from my understanding, right? So when we said, oh, this guy should go, this guy should go, it's like, but the team won't let them go, right? And sometimes the teams are like, no, we just let them go to this, and we let them go to that, right? And so, going into that, what do you think about the roster as far as what was available? I mean, I can kind of run it down if you want me to. I mean, obviously in goal, from what they reported, right? We have Ochoa going, Malagon, and Jurado as the keepers. So your thoughts on the keepers really quick? I mean, I personally didn't want to see Ochoa going to the Olympics. That's just my personal thing. Nothing against him. I felt like a keeper that's been on the national team for many years, who's been to 3 World Cups, right? Played in 2. To me, actually, he's been to 4 World Cups, right? He went in 06 as well. So, a guy who's been on a World Cup team 4 times, a guy who's played World Cups, who's set his mark already, who's played in Europe, who's played on the, one of the biggest teams in Mexico and who's won titles. Like, I don't see the need for his career to go to the Olympics. I feel like what you're doing there is not trusting in the younger keepers. And I keep I just didn't get it. Last time I got it, we never got a gold medal. We already have one. It's like, is the world going to end if we don't win a gold medal this time? Probably not. And so to me, it's like, why not let Jurado? Why not let these younger guys get a chance at it? That was me.
I'm in the same boat that you are. I think part of it as well because the last 5-6 years, Mexican soccer is really, the coaches have just been really hesitant about bringing in a young keeper and giving him time with the national team. And so these always seem like a good opportunity to do that. They brought Corona in 12 when they won the Olympics. They brought Talavera, I believe, was a goalkeeper 4 years ago. I'm with you that if you're not bringing these younger guys up to the national team, to the first team level, it's good for them to play in these games because whichever one is going to go along with Ochoa, whether it's Magalon or Jurado, because one of them is going to get cut because the Olympic roster is only 18 instead of the normal 23 that FIFA tournaments kind of allow. They're not going to play. And so this would have been a good opportunity for that. And, if they don't, whichever one doesn't go here, it's not a guarantee that they're going to make the Gold Cup roster either. You know what I mean? That's not a guarantee either, even though Ochoa is not going to be in the Gold Cup because it's going to be here. So those kind of things, I'm with you. It's frustrating to see, actually. But for the most part, for the roster, I actually really like the roster, I think. The other overage players they brought, Luis Romo and Irving and Henry Martinez. Henry Martinez didn't have a good Nations League, but we also have to, at some point, give them merit for what they've done at the club level in Mexico, right? Like you said, you can't. These European teams, these teams that if they don't have to give off their players, most of the time they won't. You do see somebody like Gerardo Ortega, who from Belgium, who is getting permission to go. They probably see him, probably Diego Landis for the same reason. If they have a good Olympics, they can probably maybe sell him, get money off of that. But there is something about Luis Romo being the player of the year in Mexican soccer last year. He's kind of earned this right.
No, he deserved it. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. Sorry.
Because he's not a starter for the first team for the national team. So this is an opportunity for the team to kind of be built around him in the midfield. Same thing with Henry Martinez. He's not a guaranteed starter for the Mexican national team. These are opportunities for them that they've earned really through the last year that they've played to be in positions where they are the ones not calling the shots, but teams kind of be built around them. And I think for me that's important. They've earned it, and these are the opportunities for them to kind of grow with that.
I agree. I mean, I'm okay with the other two. Like I think Henry Martin is a safe little bet. It's kind of like, obviously not on Peralta level. Peralta did obviously had more merit before he got called to the Olympic team. But I think you can kind of say, okay, he's one of those best players that are in the league. Like I said, the team's going to let him go, right? We all know other names that we know don't want to be there, or so we're not going to worry about them. They're not going to go. And then Luis Romo's a good one because he misses the age cutoff by a couple of years. He's the player of the year in the league. He's solid. A lot of us would say he should probably be going to Copa Oro, but I think you look at the roster, it's okay. I'm all about taking the best players available at 23. We did it last time in 2012. Gio went, but Chicharito didn't let him go. Like we talked about Man U didn't let him go, and it was in England, right? They still didn't let him go. So there's clubs that don't let their players go to these events, and so I think it is what it is. It's a pretty good squad. I'm okay with it. I'm more excited about this squad than I am than I was in 2016. I thought obviously Chucky Lozano had a lot of they were banking a lot on that, but I didn't see the coaching behind it. So I think this group could do it. They can go pretty far, and we saw what Linus can do against what they did against USA. I think Linus could run circles against some of these teams. I think he could do his thing for sure.
Yeah, and I think it'll be hard to see which other 3 players get cut besides one of the 2 goalkeepers, because the roster I really do like. Finding the balance, I think, is going to be interesting. I probably think Eduardo Aguirre probably doesn't make it, to be honest with you. I think
Yeah, Mulo Aguirre's not going to go if they're going to bring in Martin. He's not going to take Martin. No.
Yeah, and I think JJ's the other forward they'll bring along with Martin instead of Aguirre. And then from the midfield, it's really hard to see. I think maybe if somebody like Carlos Rodriguez doesn't go, then he goes to the Gold Cup team.
Right.
But because you still need some balance, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of attacking midfields on the team,
yeah.
So that's I think my biggest thing, because I like the teams. I like Alvarado, I like Beltran, I like Cordova. So it's like it's hard to figure out where the cuts are going to come, and if they do get if the cuts do come, do they go to the Gold Cup as well?
I think they have to. I think you can put this team against the Gold Cup team, and I think this team could beat the Gold Cup team, whatever team you send. I mean, obviously Chucky Lozano would probably tear this team up, but other than that, like, it's pretty even. I love Cordova. I think what he can do is going to be. I think this is the time for him to shine. It's the time for him to break out and do his thing. Alvarado is one of those players that I'm not like super sold on. I know he has talent. I know he's like quick and kind of crafty, but I don't know. I don't see like I don't know. I'm not that impressed by him too much. Obviously, Antuna, we already know his story with him. He's probably going to play out his little years here with the 23s, and he's got a couple more seasons and it's over. I mean, I don't, he's going to have to do something because we're getting tired of the same old, right? I mean, he could score 7 goals against Cuba, but we need to do something against a team that is going to give you that we need a win that we need to win, right? So yeah, we'll see. It's a good squad, man. Jorge Sanchez, these players, like I said, they weren't there. They should definitely be on the A team. So they should do good. Jimmy should do good. Jimmy knows a little bit about getting cut, so hopefully he knows how to talk to these guys correctly and be like, hey guys, your career's not over. Tata wants to see you over there. I mean, I don't know. Mulo Aguirre, I don't see him going to the A team either. But like or even Beltran. I think Beltran's like on that cusp of like being that small guy. I don't know if they really trust him yet, but Angulo's going to tear it up in the 23s. Just watch out for Jesus Angulo. He's going to do good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with some of the players that I think some of the players that get cut won't make the Gold Cup team. I think if they're from the midfield section, they will go to the Gold Cup. But I think forward-wise, they won't. And part of it is because it looks like for the Gold Cup, Tata Martinez probably now feels the pressure of, after the disappointing week he had with the national team, that looks like he's going to call both Chicharito and Funes Mori, who just became Mexican citizen, to the Mexican national team. At least the prelim one. We don't know.
No, he's going. They're going. We definitely saw him. What was that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For the prelim for the Gold Cup, it looks like both Chicharito and Funes Mori will be on the rosters. And quickly, because not quickly in the way to like speed up, but what are your initial thoughts now, or what are your overall thoughts of the call? That looks like these are going to be the call-ups after what we saw from Mexico the last week and a half.
Again, I don't want to sound any kind of way. I'm not against naturalizados, players that are, they become citizens. I'm not nationalized. I'm not against that. I think Tata has been hard-headed about it. Like you look at, whatever. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do want to say I'm excited to see both of them on the roster. I think Funes Mori is someone that's in his prime, maybe almost on the way out of his prime, but he's doing his thing. People tweet about it. They're being sarcastic, like, oh, what do you want our forwards to do? Is like win titles and score 100 goals. Like, he has all of that. He literally has checked every box in the Mexican league, in a short time. Obviously, he came into Monterrey. He's done his thing in the 5 years he's been there, and he's done his thing. So there's always going to be players that want to be on the Mexican national team, because if you're playing the country, you got an opportunity to do it, you're going to do it. I think Tata's obviously made that comment since day one when he got in there. We know. I also don't blame Tata, right? You have Carlos Vela, who's in his prime, who is one of the best players in CONCACAF in the whole Western Hemisphere, does not want to play on the team. So he's not going to waste his time talking to him, right? Chicharito, obviously we know, like you said, he was probably like disciplinary action, didn't have him in there, but he's also at the end of his run. This is it, right? If he doesn't go to Qatar, this is it, So I think you can't just waste that waiting for JJ Macias to step up, who hasn't done it in the last 2 seasons with Chivas, has done nothing really. Score a goal here and there. And so what else do you do, right? The young aren't ready. and the old don't want to play. So you got to go with what you got. And I think I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is the pressures really has gone up the last week and a half with Tata Martinez, with the way the Mexico's played, struggling to produce goals, struggling to create, struggling to like put them on net. I don't, both Pulido and Martin didn't show anything. Your best player and forward Raúl Jiménez, who would be the focal point, can't play right now. He's barely coming back from the traumatic head injury, right. And so what do you have then instead? So I think the Chicharito one, he's doing what you're asking your forwards to do, which is score goals. So you can't ask any more right now for him.
No.
In that situation. So I think the way we talked about, Romo and Henry earning a spot in the Olympic roster through their last year at their club level. Here, I think he's also earned it. He's maybe not doing it at the highest level, but he's putting himself in a good position. He looks to be in shape. He's enjoying his soccer with LA Galaxy, so he's earned it. And then Funes Mori, who's been one of the elite strikers in Mexican soccer, has putting in the numbers. I think a stat came out that he has more goals than both Pulido and Henry combined in the time all three of them have been in Mexican soccer. So, these aren't the worst these aren't the worst second options to have when your back's against the wall, I think. No. For them at the
no, and the pressure's on, like you said. I have a co-buddy, shout out to my buddy Alonso, who hopefully listens to the podcast, but he was telling me, like, man, this Gold Cup can literally spiral us down to a Chepo de la Torre kind of moment where Absolutely. We are in huge trouble. And I can kind of agree. I told him, I agree with you that, obviously he had the numbers, like Chepo had the numbers at the beginning, was in the driver's seat, all of a sudden one bad tournament and we're in trouble. And also, the parallel is that we won the Olympics at the same time. So, there is some things that could happen, but he did, he's like, I think this is almost over. And I said, look, if we would have won that U.S. game, when I say we, the Mexican national team would have won the U.S. game, we wouldn't really be talking about it right now. Like, yeah, we could probably say, oh, they scored on us, this and that. But that loss is just very disheartening, right? It's disheartening and it hurts, right? It hurts. That's why those games are so fun to watch. So, don't worry about the Honduras 0-0. I don't count that as anything, because if we would have beat USA, then that Honduras game, we don't even care about it, and so it's not a big deal. I think you got to see is, you watch the Gold Cup, you watch them go to a final, and then we're back in the, we're going to be okay. Like you said, it's not a bad move. Those aren't bad picks. It's not a stretch. It's not like Edison trying to grab, Leandro Augusto or just different random guys that are, Mexican Mexican citizens. No, this guy's a good player. He's a solid player. He's doing it on a big team in Mexico. So I think it's a good option. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and we'll see how the Gold Cup goes. Final rosters are expected to be announced in about 2 weeks. So, lastly, we had our last 3 teams qualified to, speaking of Mexico, to the no longer the Hex, but the Octagon for CONCACAF qualifying, where Canada, El Salvador, and Panama joined Honduras, USA, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Jamaica in the final stages of World Cup qualifying, where it's going to be played in a matter of 5-6 windows, where you're playing 3 games in 6-7 days, because of the pandemic. I mean, this is going to be this. We spoke about CONCACAF last week. This could also be so CONCACAF-y with the amount of games where you're going to have to go to Honduras, you're going to have to go to El Salvador, you have to go to Panama, you have to go to these very intense places, and it just it's not the prettiest of qualifying, but it makes it so intense. What do you think about the last 8?
The last 8 looks normal. I'm a little upset. Like I think Trinidad and Tobago didn't make it right to the last 8. What was that? Oh, give me a second. 3-2-2-9. My son trying to get the iPad. 2-2-9. It's okay. 3-2-2-9. Cierra la puerta. Go. ¿Sí metiste? ¿Sí te entraste? 3-2-2-9. 3-2-2-9. 2. No, está bien. 3-2-2-9. All right, sorry. No, I was just saying, just seeing Trinidad and Tobago not making it. I think Haiti's out too, right? Haiti didn't make it either, so the 8. But no, the final 8 looks normal, man. It looks normal to me. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing will be, teams that have pressure. I think a team like Costa Rica, who has been struggling, a team usually like probably the third standard barrier of CONCACAF. If they get off to a bad start, I think if Mexico doesn't do well in the Gold Cup and they get off to a bad start the first couple of match days, you're going to see changes quickly. You're going to see things. You're going to see adjustments quickly after these match days, right? Because they play 3 in a week. Then a month you'll wait. They'll play the club games, and then you'll play another 3 a month for later. And then by November they'll be halfway through. They'll have 8 games played.
Yeah, well, I think right now it's like almost a thing where you got the Olympic roster where you could have like almost half of those guys could be on like a World Cup qualifying team, and then you have the CONCACAF Gold Cup, which you have to do is mandatory. It's there, and so there's a lot of things. It's an opportunity though also for Tata to get some more looks at some guys, and like you said, you call these guys in for 3 games. You're going to have to do the rotaciones, shout out to JC Osorio, right? And you're going to have to move guys around. And I think that's why Funes Mori might come in handy. I mean, he's a veteran. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to back down because he doesn't have, I don't know, he doesn't, in all lack of words, I don't know, I don't know how to say it the right way, but, he's not a Mexican player. He's not, he's not from Mexico where he's going to be buying into this media, and this pressure. So you got this guy, coming from Argentina with a different swagger who's played in Europe. I don't know. I could see him just brushing it off and just playing. I don't think he's going to shy down when he goes play El Salvador, away. I don't see that.
Quickly before moving on, do you want to give a quick of your 3 that automatically qualify in the half?
Yeah, let's roll it right now. Let's do it today in June. We're going to call our 3. Obviously, I'm going to go safe. I'm going to go with Mexico. I'm gonna go Mexico getting second in the group. I don't see them getting first. Not the way that
doesn't really matter unless you.
Okay. Well, Mexico, USA. I got Mexico, USA, Honduras going 3 straight. I think those are the 3 going in right away. I got Honduras taking over Costa Rica, I think.
And you're a little happy.
My half spot. I'm never gonna shy down from like a team that's athletic like Jamaica. I'm gonna go with Jamaica, either Jamaica or Canada, but I'm gonna go with Jamaica.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, unless any of these teams, and Mexico's probably realistically the only one who's close enough to get a top 7 for World Cup, for head of the World Cup, to be in the World Cup rankings, to be top 7 to get the automatic group head spot. I mean, you finish in the top, you qualify, you're going to be in the same pot anyways come draw time. So, I mean, and all the other teams are too far away ranking wise to get even close. So, for me, order is not important, just qualifying, unless Mexico runs away with it and wins every game and, they can propel themselves to 7th, but they need a lot of things to go right for that to happen.
And they got to win the Gold Cup, too.
They got to win the Gold Cup, too, really. But for me, so Mexico, USA, I think I think Costa Rica, from what I've seen right now, where they're kind of been at the last couple of months, I don't see them. I don't think it's Salvador also. I think Honduras is. I want to give Honduras the half one, and I want Canada. I want Canada to kind of make a run because I think they got players.
They do.
Can they? And I think that's one of the teams that we've always thought about. Oh, they could just be right over the hump.
Right.
So close.
No, they have no. Like we talked about. I think I said it last time. They have no excuse to be that low that they are. Like Canada's infrastructure compared to the countries we're talking about, especially if you want to go head to head on Honduras real quick, you can say that. You're not going to tell. Obviously, we know Canadians don't have a league, right? They play in the MLS, but that's already higher than Honduras, So you have a league, right? You have teams in the league. You have a player in Bayern Munich. You have players, playing. You have guys with dual citizenship. They had players from, they had a, guy that was playing in Puebla. I forgot his name. Carari, I forgot his name. But they had guys playing. They have guys that play in the top leagues, kind of. So I don't know how they couldn't compete and be in the top 3 already. Just it's Canada, bro. It's not.
Yeah, I think USA kind of. It'll be interesting both to see USA and Canada when they go to places like El Salvador, when they go to places like Honduras, where they're playing like a 2:00 kickoff, when it's you know what I mean. You're central. It's hot. It's the grass is long. As these. That's kind of always been the stumbling block in Canada in the way they used to qualify in those early group stages. Those games would always trip them up. Those like winner.
Home games. Go to like Bermuda.
You've seen USA struggle in those places too. I also do like, I think for CONCACAF quality, I think Jamaica is kind of a little dark horse to be
I'm
there
telling
too.
you, like, you don't want to, like, if you're in Mexico, you want to play Jamaica? No, like, you can say on the roster, Mexico has more experience, all this, that, but we play Jamaica. First of all, they can beat us, and
Yes.
they've done it before.
They've done it Gold Cup, they've done qualifying.
Yeah, so that's why I say, like, and that's why Trinidad Tobago is one of those other teams that could give you a run. So that's why I'm sad they're not there, because both of those teams athletically and skill-wise, because these guys can't play in the second division in Europe. We talked about that. They play in England in the second division. These guys play in the third division. Those are not worse teams than MLS teams. They're not. Sorry. So it is solid.
I think I think it's an interesting thing where we've talked about now a couple times teams rising and teams going down from where they were. I think Canada and Jamaica are two programs that are on the rise. Where are they exactly on that rise? We don't really know. I think this kind of round robin setup will tell you exactly where they are. I think teams like Honduras and Costa Rica might be on a little down from where they were in past cycles. Where do they meet? Has the up past the down? We don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Where Honduras and Costa Rica could qualify. Would they do it with like the Brian Reeses in the world now, where they probably no longer get a benefit? Where
that's why that's why I'm telling you, I think Costa Rica's their run is over. I think their run is they're gonna have to change it up for the next World Cup.
We're seeing like Canada, they're gonna make the World Cup in 2024-26 because they're hosting it anyways, but not being peaking yet, but just having that experience could go such a long way in building for 4 years. For them to miss out, for a team like Jamaica, I think, where they're trying to rebuild this program, where they're getting these nationalized players, these players who have European experience in European clubs. Can they sneak themselves in a World Cup, in a continental playoff before they've reached the peak? You know what I mean? Can they catch one of these teams going down while they're going up to put themselves in a good situation?
I think they can. I call this.
These are the things we're gonna find out over once qualifying starts. But before we head out, we got our 50-50s. We got 50-50 challenges of the week.
Oh man, yeah. This is why I came today. So 50-50 challenge. If you haven't listened before, it's something we came up with where we come up with a quick topic. It could be soccer related or something else, and the other person will either call a foul because they're against it, let them play on. They call nothing. And then send it to the VAR if they don't know. Toss up, So I don't know. I'll send it to the VAR. Let the VAR booth do everything for me. So, and we saw that happen a lot recently these weeks. They feel like the VAR has been doing more work than the center ref. So anyway, so you want to start with your first topic or me?
You can start.
Okay, so my first one, I was rolling out there. Cristiano Ronaldo sat down for his press conference the other day and pulled out the Coca-Cola bottle and brought out the water bottle. What do you give that, man?
I mean, I'd say a yes. I mean, you see this a lot with athletes in general, whether maybe they're not sponsored by them. Maybe they're not sponsored by that brand, so they're not going to they're not going to put their face near it. You saw Pogba do something similar with the Heineken. People say it's because he's Muslim, so he doesn't really drink, or he doesn't want to pass on that idea of it. So, a company like Coca-Cola will be fine because Coca-Cola, will be fine with that. I see no problem with it. You want to pay them or whatnot. You want to pay them. They make enough money. The country of Mexico can support Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Well, my argument was that Coca-Cola bottles water in every country, right? Every country they have a company that has water. Yeah, they have Dasani here, and around in Mexico they have Ciel and different brands all over the world. And so it's like, why don't you just be smarter and bring out the water bottle? And so there was like, oh, they lost this much money. Like, no, they didn't. I think that's a lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cry over Coca-Cola or Heineken or any of those.
No, they're fine. They're fine. Okay, go ahead, man. So what's your second one?
50. I just sent you the link. If you want to give it a click. The new USA came out with these new jerseys.
I like your tweet. You said they saw the Man U zebra kits and said we could do it worse. And I definitely agree. I thought this is the time for U.S. soccer to really capitalize on the marketing and take this golden generation that they claim and kind of run with it. And this is not the way to do it. This kit is terrible. So I do give it a foul, and that's why I have my meme, the Chacon, which is my favorite ref because he's this personality he used to have. But yeah, that's I give that a foul, man. That's definitely going to be a foul for sure.
Yeah, also a foul. The back. So people who don't know this, it's kind of like a red and navy blue zebra.
Yeah, we'll post it. Yeah, we'll post it on social media.
With the back of it being navy, so my thought is just make it red. I mean, if you're gonna make it ugly, just make it really ugly. You know what I mean?
It's
Don't
terrible.
don't try
No,
to make
it's definitely terrible. I put
don't
that.
try to make it half ugly. You're
I
gonna
probably
go.
put it. I probably put it second place to the Where's Waldo jerseys they had in 14. But definitely really ugly for sure.
Yeah. Just
The stripe, that was terrible.
you know, this might not. We're not trying to make this a U.S. hater jersey or
No. But this is a bad kick
in general. But these are bad. These are bad. At least make if the front is usually red, just make the back red too. Just make it really pop. Might as well. Like, don't try to don't like half. You're like kind of like half like hiding it. Just embrace it. You know what I mean?
No, it's terrible. So yeah. Okay, my second one, and obviously close to finishing up here. And I actually had that written down, U.S. Men's National New Kit. So that was one of my. That's why I wrote down my thing, so you wouldn't steal my things. Well, this is a little bit different. Marcelo Martins, you probably never heard of him, but he's a Bolivian player playing in Copa America, and he publicly criticized, the whole confederation, sorry, Conmebol, about them not, quote, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, player, they don't care about our health. I don't know if you saw that story. Did you hear that story where he was, and they actually opened up a whole thing against him. So I don't know if you heard that.
I haven't, but I believe it. So I mean, I'm with I think good. Players need to speak out. The Brazilian players were speaking out before the tournament. The Conmebol don't care about their players. You know what I mean?
And he said that, he goes, "You guys don't care about our health," and so he's like, because a lot of players didn't want to play. You said you've seen it in the Copa America's down in viewership. I'm trying to watch it. I'm trying to support it, but it's really terrible because there's no one there, and that's the vibe that you get from those Latinos. Well, it's fun to watch Copa America, and it's like the stadiums are empty, and like you said, they don't care because obviously these countries are closed down still. Brazil's been criticized before for hosting Olympics, for hosting World Cups, and their people are against it because public health and the different things, they don't support their people. So I definitely, like you said, I definitely give it a play for the player for doing it, play on, and obviously a foul on the federation for they don't care, man. It's all about money.
No, they don't. And we saw the way they try to put this anywhere they could. Once Colombia backed out, once Argentina backed out, they put in Brazil. Casemiro, Real Madrid forward, and one of the captains for Brazil said they almost quit. They almost backed out of the tournament for the same reason. They know they don't care. They know. It's a shame, but it's true. Yeah. But I mean, one of my 50-50s was gonna be, what are your thoughts so far of the Copa America? But I think it's been
Copa America. I'm trying to support it, man. I'm trying to. I grew up watching it.
Is it a VAR right now for you?
What was that?
Is it a VAR right now for you?
It's definitely at the VAR. I'm just gonna let it just kind of play out. Yeah, I think it goes back to what we talked about with kind of what's going on here in CONCACAF, where we had the Nations League. They had these dumb friendlies, and now you have World Cup qualifiers coming up, and Gold Cup is in the way. It's just becoming a little too much, and definitely their Copa America's feeling it too because they have these players doing this, and a lot of their players playing Europe. They're tired. There's no fans. There's no excitement. The games are dull, man. They're dull. I'm trying to support it. I'm going to continue supporting it, but it's definitely going to the VAR.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So
they should have put it. They should have put it in Florida. I kept saying, if you put it in Florida, you'd sell it out for sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm sure CONCACAF was going to put a stop to that. Not trying to have competing tournaments.
I know, but you put it. You put it in Florida. It's the one state politically that could host it right now because of COVID restrictions and population wise. Who lives in Florida, and you would have in Orlando. Can you imagine like un Brazil, Argentina, or Brazil, anybody? People will go. The most avid fan will go.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any more 50-50s?
Unless you have one more, I can give you one, but it's up to you.
Yeah, we'll have one more. We'll wrap up here.
Okay. I'm just gonna say it, man. Your captain Sergio Ramos leaving Real Madrid. He just announced that today. What do you think?
Well,
as a Real Madrid fan, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid fan. It's fair. He's given 16 years to the club. He asked for a raise. I think at this age it's very hard, I think, to quantify it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And we talked about it earlier about the Spain national team and how they're kind of reflecting that same kind of cycle that Real Madrid and Barcelona are doing. And, Ramos is a perfect example of that, what's happening with Real Madrid, where you have these guys from the team that won 4 championships in 5. And it's human nature. It's gonna happen where you can't expect these guys to continue to be at the same level, to keep producing, to keep winning. It's impossible. It's impossible. Even if Ronaldo hadn't left for Juventus, it would be impossible for you to keep asking these guys to keep winning Champions League, to keep winning titles without some sort of new blood, without some sort of rotation. I think this was something that Real Madrid was completely expecting. I think maybe Sergio Ramos thought at some point that they were going to budge.
It's probably one of those little last minute, like, let's see what they say. If they say no, I'm out anyway, so it's fine.
They brought in David Alaba, who is right as prime, 28 years old, played 10 years at Bayern Munich, so he's not going to be scared of Bernabeu of putting on that jersey. You see him with Austria; he does everything for Austria, where he plays center back, he plays center back, he plays left back. He does that for Bayern Munich. For Austria, he plays in the midfield when he wants. He kind of runs the show there because he's by far their best player. So, I'm kind of, as a Real Madrid fan, I expect them. I'm not expecting Champions League finals and Champions League trophies at the moment. I'm not even expecting La Liga titles, because they're in transition stage and it's natural. I think sometimes we just kind of expect from our teams to kind of do this, but you have to replenish and you have to have growing pains, and it's a cycle and it's going to happen.
Yep.
And so it's going to be sad because he has done so much for the club. He has been a fantastic leader. Him and Benzema, he was so crucial in their last title win 2 years ago, and kind of pulling them back and kind of grinding, especially after all the leagues restarted after COVID. He was so influential and he was physically prepared, so mentally prepared, and you could kind of see it happen and spread all throughout the team. This year, I thought they were going to struggle with that as well, and at times they did struggle without him, but you kind of saw them little by little at the end kind of pick it up without him. You saw in that Champions League semifinals against Chelsea, he just wasn't there physically. And
it was the end of a run, man. It's always sad to see your center backs go.
It was a hell of a run. I think it's going to be one of those things where, similar with Ronaldo, where it's not going to be bad blood. When Ronaldo left Real Madrid, I don't think there's any bad blood between them. I think he left, which was actually kind of surprising. I think when you think about the personality of Ronaldo and Sergio Ramos, they can be so almost overbearing that you think they're gonna make a scene when they go out. But I don't expect that to happen. I think he has served and done so much for the club. He has grown up in front of the eyes. To see him leave is going to be sad, but it's one of the things I think there's going to be so much mutual respect between the club and him. Between him and Perez is a different thing. I think it's kind of similar with Zidane. Between Zidane and Perez, it might be different, but between Real Madrid, the club, the fans, and the institution, and Sergio Ramos, I think it's going to be nothing but love and respect and admiration for truly one of the elite defenders of all time, and probably the most elite and the best pure captain of the generation. When you really talk about what is a leader, what is a captain, I think whether you like him or not, Sergio Ramos is what you kind of want from a captain.
Yeah, no, he's a beast for sure.
Yeah,
man. So anyways, man, you can close it up if you want.
Yeah, I think on that note, sorry, I'm going to just wipe my tears from my eyes. I just made myself so emotional.
Someone's got to get him a tissue, but Nick, I know now not to bring up the Blazers or Sergio Ramos, because this guy will go on for a while.
Oh, yeah, man. We can talk about that another episode. That can be another 50-50.
This is the Ramos. Welcome to the Ramos rant by Ivan. Yeah, thank you.
But for that, this has been Alex and Ivan saying thank you for listening. Alex, you want to give your Twitter handle for our listeners?
Yeah, man. So we got a Twitter handle going now. I've been reluctant to kind of do the social media because I know it's another rabbit hole I don't want to go into, but it's the only way to market this. So we appreciate you clicking on this link and listening to this. It's available on YouTube, Football Theory. You can look it up. The link will be in the episode notes. We are available on all podcast platforms. And then on Twitter as well, Football_Theory, and Instagram, Football_Theory. And like I said, everything will be on the episode notes. And let us know you listen to it, because we don't know. We want to know what you think. This is for you. So you just let us know what you think. Comments, you can bash us. You can give us some good stuff, whatever. And hopefully, like you said, everything starts somewhere. So we're starting here at the bottom, and hopefully we'll be where we want to be later on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Everybody be happy, be healthy. Thank you guys for listening. Alex, thank you so much.
Yeah, man. All right, late. It's kind of like, well, it's one of those.
It was especially when they were starting out.